Greetings, listeners! This is July of 2019, and welcome to the Underground Book Club.
Welcome.
Where we discuss free, self-published books that we uncover in the depths of the internet. I'm Jake.
And I'm Chris. Today we're going to be discussing Witch's Blood, Book 1, Bloodless. A young adult paranormal romance by Nia Yasmin.
Witch's Blood, Bloodless? Oh, okay.
Yes,
right.
well,
Fine.
yes, and it makes sense.
Say Nia Yasmin?
I'm pronouncing it Nia Yasmin.
I usually start us off by apologizing for our audio, and this time is no exception. Again, once we require a fan base, we might be able to afford some more sophisticated audio equipment. However, no audio equipment in the world can filter out bad ideas. Hence episode 3, where we actually decided to record during the 4th of July. What were we thinking?
Well, I was thinking that the microphone wouldn't pick up the sound.
It would dump the background noise.
I just thought it was outside. It wouldn't.
Yeah, you're right.
I didn't realize how sensitive it was, and then we go to listen to our recording, and it's just nonstop. Fireworks. It's our flippin' neighborhood here.
For real.
They can't lay off the fireworks for 5 minutes.
Some of them might not even be fireworks. Some of those noises might be gunshots.
They could be gunfire.
Yeah,
yes.
Who knows?
So, folks, if you're ever feeling in a patriotic mood and want to celebrate the 4th of July, just listen to our episode 3.
Yeah.
You'll feel like you can live it all over again.
Pictures of fireworks and whatnot.
So forgive us, please, our foolishness.
I wanted to talk about Yasmin a little bit, give some info on her.
She's on Twitter, she's on Goodreads, she's on Instagram, Facebook, she's got a website, she has a mailing list.
My God.
She's very active online. So
Yeah.
she's big into marketing herself.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you,
Seriously.
Yasmin. You are doing what we all need to do if you're going to be a self-published author.
Market herself.
And she's got no lack of self-confidence. It seems like she's very much
out there.
She's putting herself out there, offering advice. She's got
a whole blog section about helping out other authors
She does,
and publishers.
and she's got a really nice thing set up on her website where she will exchange reviews with other independent authors.
Oh my gosh.
And everything. I mean, she's working it, okay, folks? She's working it, and we all need to take a page from her working it.
Yasmin seems to be doing all she can to promote herself.
I did send her a Facebook message.
Yeah.
I don't think she's answered me.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
She might not have time.
She's a busy person.
She's very busy. But what I said in the message, it wasn't even a question about her book. I just complimented her on her well-organized online presence.
Oh, yeah.
And I just said, this is a hard thing for a self-published author to do, and that she's handling it well. So
absolutely.
I do hope she takes that compliment to heart. I do absolutely mean it. Even in a few minutes when I'm going to be a little bit picky about her book.
Well, honestly, it sounds like she can handle it.
Yeah. Let's face it, the more self-promotion you do, probably the more likely you are to get readers and exposure and word of mouth. And word of mouth is gold to a self-published author.
Sure. There's been some older authors that we've seen who have just published online, but they don't have anything like a Facebook or a Twitter or anything.
I don't do Twitter. I don't do Instagram. I'm pretty old, but I did do Facebook, but I hate Facebook.
Right.
Oh my God, I hate Facebook so much.
So I guess it's just how much free time you've got, how much you're willing to put up with marketing yourself, because marketing yourself can be a big problem, you know? It's a big pain in the butt.
Oh, for heaven's sake, it's like when all you want to do is write and you love writing.
Yeah.
Marketing can just kill that in you,
absolutely.
know? Which is why it's nice if you've got a bunch of money laying around to hire somebody else to do it for you.
I view a channel that's called Terrible Writing Advice, but this time he actually gave some good writing advice where he said, you finished your book? That's great. That was the easy part. You know, now comes the hard part of actually getting it out there.
Isn't that sad?
I know.
It's like after you go through this Herculean task of writing a book, then it's like not enough.
Speaking of promotion, check out these covers.
Yeah, she's got some pretty nice cover art.
This is some seriously nice looking stuff here, especially for self-promotion. Usually when we see self-promotion, it's something like Rescued by Bears.
Oh my god.
We'll talk about that one next time. I'm very envious of Yasmin, in fact.
Yeah, I'm a little bit in awe of her myself, really.
I'd kill right now to have the kind of blog and online presence that she has.
I don't think you need to kill anybody, Jake.
Well, but I would.
Oh,
Wow.
well, that sounds like a personal
That's
issue.
why I'm down here, all right? That's
Okay.
why I'm not allowed back up there. With that said, I shall begin with the book's synopsis taken off our Amazon page. When psychic witch Amber agrees to help search for a missing young woman, she never imagined it would get her entangled in a dangerous game of cat and mouse, with a sadistic killer intent on bleeding young witches to death. Could this be the work of a dark wizard or witch? A vigilante or a crazy cult? Or are there more dangerous creatures out there, creeping out of the shadows to swallow the light?
And can she trust Callum Dent, the missing witch's gorgeous boyfriend, who seems to know more about the supernatural than he lets on? Or is this charming male model the murderer that she's searching for?
This is the first book in the magical Witch's Blood series. If you like fast-paced YA novels with shocks and twists, witty heroines, and complex villains, then you will love Yasmin's thrilling new urban fantasy series.
I do like all of those things.
Sure.
I wonder when they're going to show up in the book.
Wow! Woo!
Oh,
Damn!
ouch.
God!
All right, that was maybe a little out of line.
And that's the end of the episode, okay?
All right,
I'm
we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
No. I have many nice things to say about Ms. Yasmin's work.
Right.
And I have some complaints.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's all constructive criticism.
We'll see.
It's all to help.
We will see. This is something that bothered Jake a little more than it bothered me.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like this first book, quote unquote book, in the series is a complete book.
It's not.
It's only like 80 pages long. It's like 34,000 words. So it's a novella, really, or a short story, possibly.
But it's not a complete story.
And it does seem like she discovers the first murder victim like halfway through, and then
As soon as the plot gets going, it stops just as quickly.
it stops on a big cliffhanger. And so I feel like maybe the next page should be like part 2.
Yeah.
This is just like the first part of a whole book. I didn't mind.
To me, this makes her book feel like an extended Act 1 rather than Book 1. But you would think, and with 34,000 words, if it's like Book 1, you would want a concise beginning, middle, and end.
Do you feel like this is just sort of her way to get you hooked?
Yeah.
And
To
then-
me, it's like a preview almost to get you hooked
like
into
to see
books
that.
2 and 3. By the way, 3 is not out yet in terms of this recording, but book 2 is out yet.
There's no hard and fast rule, though, about how much you can publish at a time.
Sure. And if you get it for free, that is fine. But if like she was charging for this, I would expect a beginning, middle,
You
and
might
end.
expect more. Okay.
Because
yeah.
it sets up a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't resolve anything.
It sort of reminds me of the way Smashwords and I believe other ebook sites will let you download the first 20% of a book for free.
Oh, yeah.
To see if you like it. And it sort of feels like that may be kind of her version of doing this. Like, here's the first part of a big story. See if you like it.
On YouTube, I've seen people record like the first couple chapters of their book as like an audiobook. And so you like listen to that, and then you could pay
like
the rest.
it, you can go, okay.
Or-
I mean, it's like advertising.
Or like the guy behind the Dairy Queen who has all the drugs, and you can get a little bit off of him for free, but then, you know.
Oh, yeah. After that first time, you're paying.
So basically, the plot of this book goes like this. It takes place in London, focused on teenage witches who are a part of a secret witch society, I think?
It's a little unclear.
Yeah,
I believe that her other books have dealt with the
Witch society.
more about the witch society, so she doesn't want to give away secrets.
She's almost presuming that we've read the other books.
Yes, that's true.
One day, a witch goes missing. The missing witch has a sister, Simone, who starts the search. Simone has another friend who's also a witch named Jax, and then Jax gets into contact with another witch named Amber. Jax knows Amber because, get this, Amber tried to help Jax find her missing sister. This becomes extremely confusing in the beginning of the book when the author is trying to introduce us to 3 teenage girl witches, 2 of which are looking for 2 different missing witch sisters.
And it doesn't seem like they're missing for the same reason.
Yeah, it's not like connected.
This isn't a serial killer or something.
As far as we know.
Well, I mean, not between these 2 girls anyway.
Yeah.
But we're also saying we got teenage witches here. Amber, our lead character, is 19, and the other 2 girls are 16, and Amber keeps calling herself the adult in the room.
Right.
But I don't know. When you get to be as ancient as me, 19 and 16 don't seem real far apart.
To me, they seem pretty young, and I'm 25. The girls are alone. Sorry, let me say this like a movie trailer voice. The girls are alone within the dangerous streets of London, with few leads and even fewer suspects. And apparently, time is of the essence?
Before we start digging into our critical analysis, we want to give Yasmin some credit. Jax, Amber, and Simone, speaking to one another, have very believable dialogue. 3 girls speak to each other, and you can distinguish which character is which.
Oh, yeah.
They all have their own voice and mannerisms. Even if the dialogue is a little bit clunky sometimes, it's still...
Yasmin does a very admirable job evoking the cadence and attitudes of British teenagers.
Yes, she does.
She makes 3 similarly aged girls sound distinct from one another, and that's not an easy thing to do in a book.
When I said clunky, too, I meant that in more of a way like... I can tell that she's trying to let these girls discuss something that happened in a previous book without telling us what's, so it's not a spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
So then they're saying kind of odd things like, well, you remember what happened last year,
To avoid spoilers from our other books, do you remember, last time when this happened?
Do you remember that thing that we did? So that's all I meant by clunky.
Bloodless is a first-person narrative that focuses entirely on the actions of our heroine Amber. Amber was apparently introduced in other Yasmin books, so therefore she doesn't get much of an intro here or a description besides the fact that she's 19 with black hair. Her hair is actually quite the plot point as far as Bloodless is.
Oh my god.
We'll get to that later.
Hair.
Yeah. Whether she looks like Daisy Ridley or Kristen Ritter is up to the reader, I suppose. By the way, I'm not saying that Kristen Ritter is prettier than Daisy Ridley. I'm just saying that...
They don't look the same.
They don't look the same, yeah.
They don't look like they're sisters or anything.
No. But... No.
Don't take us into your dark fantasies, Jake. Jeez.
I'm sorry.
First-person narratives that focus entirely on the subjective opinions of one character can be a tricky thing to pull off.
Oh, yeah.
I remember back when I used to be in a writer's group, some of them said they won't read first-person books.
Wow.
I have no idea why. Several women, I'm not just talking about one nut job here, several women said, I pick up a book, if it's written in first person, I put it right back down.
Wow, damn.
I don't get it, but they don't like it.
Okay.
And so if you're out there and you don't like that, you're not alone.
Look, but on one hand, if pulled off correctly, a deep first-person perspective can be an extremely intimate and colorful depiction of your story that's filled to the brim with a specific voice and cadence.
And also, you get to discover the mysteries alongside this person.
Yeah. You can get really personal with a book, and you can really connect with the main character. On the other hand, there is a huge risk. If your reader doesn't like the first-person character, it basically ruins the entire book. The entire story revolves around an individual, so if we don't care about the individual, we aren't going to care about the story.
No, that's not always true.
Yeah? You don't think?
I have read a few first-person books where we had a very evil, very unlikable character narrating. However, the story was fascinating. So maybe that's more of a love-to-hate situation.
Right. So the character is interesting. The character can be the villain. If your character is, how about this? Your character is boring. Your character is
there's
intolerable.
The problem
is annoying.
When your character is maybe not the brightest apple in the
crayon
bag
box
of apples.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So like, you know, if the character is an evil person, like say you're reading about Light Yagami, then you'd be like, oh, I like this.
Yeah, okay. So we're not saying you have to have a lovable first-person character.
And how about interesting, entertaining? Instead, on the other hand, there's a huge risk if you write a character that's really obnoxious. That's a problem.
Well, that is a problem, yeah. And we might find it repetitive and difficult to sympathize with the character. If we don't want to learn more, we don't want to keep turning the pages.
That's right.
We just don't care.
We just don't care
what this ditzy bitch is doing.
In George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, if you don't like one character, don't worry. There's like 100 more. And at least half of them are going to end up dead anyway. In Bloodless, we only have one person to identify with. And because this specific individual is a 19-year-old girl, I'm going to let Chris here explain our thoughts on this woman.
Ms. Yasmin is trying to give us a character who is tongue-in-cheek. She's not full of herself.
Right.
She fairly regularly forgets that she has magic powers.
Oh my God, seriously.
She has trouble recognizing magic when she's looking at it. She doesn't seem to understand it. I'm wondering if she's got a short-term memory disorder or something like that. Amber is extremely repetitive.
Oh my God.
She drives a point home over and over again. She's almost immediately obsessed with Callum Dent.
Whoa, you're getting ahead of me here. You're getting ahead of me.
Well, I'm trying to say, I don't think much of her. As a narrator for our story, she's good as long as she's with the two young women.
Oh, sure. But when she's alone with her thoughts, she can get pretty annoying.
Oh my God, alone with her thoughts, I don't know that she's got any thoughts in her head. She's
not a good detective, she's not a good witch, she's not a good anything.
You know, and not being a good detective, it doesn't make it okay when you say, boy, I'm not a very good detective.
Being self-aware is not helping.
It's not helping because
she's
she's actually a terrible detective, and I believe her actions end up getting somebody killed, or her lack of actions, or something.
But this book actually does something that I haven't seen in many other books at all. Something that could ruin any character, no matter how interesting they may or may not be. Bloodless, for some reason, conveys every single one of Amber's thoughts with wall after wall of exhausting single-sentence emphasis. Constant, singular, individual sentences. We would like to remind the audience that we aren't usually a spelling, grammar, or formatting show. Formatting has to be pretty noticeable and distracting for us to point it out. If the formatting actually detracts from the writing and makes it a very tiring experience to get through, we simply have to mention it.
So if you don't understand what we're talking about, I'm going to show you an example. Please look at your screen as I show you the way that this entire book is written. I would like to introduce Miss Yasmin to the paragraph. As you said a while ago, paragraph, meet Miss Yasmin. Miss Yasmin, meet the paragraph.
Could you read off, kind of in a dramatic Shatner fashion?
I will read an example, and I'm showing an example on the screen.
Okay.
People, you have no idea until you sit down and try to read this how exhausting this can be. I don't know why. It's like your eyes or your brain or something.
Glaze right over it.
Let's talk about Callum and how hot he is.
Hot Callum. Callum's the guy she meets later.
My, those emerald green eyes are so deep and eternal, so bright and penetrating. They're looking into me, into my soul. Amber. It was just a whisper, but my heart thumped so hard at the way he said my name, like I was someone very familiar to him. Close to him. Important. My lips part slightly, and the air rushes out. I was holding my breath from the moment our eyes locked, remember? Now, I start breathing erratically, my eyes still holding Callum's gaze. Or is he holding mine? Amber? The spell breaks. I turn to my left to Jax, the wrecker of the moment that I'd shared with Callum. Yes, she's livid. And has every right to be. She brought me in here so we could interrogate and investigate Callum, not for me to swoon over him. And so blatantly, I don't dare turn my other side to face Simone. Guys, this could go on for a while.
This is the whole book.
I did a little bit of math.
Oh yeah, math.
Let me.
Love math. Statistics are always nice.
Thank you, Word, for giving me these statistics. This work, as I said, it's almost 34,000 words long. It has 3,379 paragraphs, and it has 3,516 lines. Now think about what that means. It means that 96% of this novella is written in one sentence long paragraphs.
Wow.
That is like, I've never seen a book like that before.
Where it's all just single sentence.
When you actually run across a paragraph in this book that has more than one sentence in it, it's kind of disconcerting. It's like, whoa, what's this?
You know what? Actually, no. It's like when people are doing voice acting, they get like a bunch of lines, just kind of single spaced out lines.
You know what it reminds me of is sort of bad poetry. It's got a poetry format, and that would be an interesting way to write a book if it were good poetry.
Sure.
But it's just regular prose given the most odd format.
Single separated lines can emphasize a single idea and let the reader know what's really important.
Well, yeah, it makes it stand out.
Yeah. Then you can dedicate another paragraph to elaborating on the whole sentence. Isn't that great? I mean, aren't singular sentences nice?
Basic writing 101 is to not make all of your sentences sound the same. Right. Nearly every single line is just a single line.
Yeah.
Every idea, therefore, seems super important.
All of them.
Given its
Every
own
idea.
Sentence, separate from every other sentence. Every thought that crosses Amber's mind is given a line to itself, as if Amber is creating a stage play out of her own life in real time. It makes her sound like a real ditzy drama queen whose mind is like blown at every sight and sound she comes across, and
it's pretty tiring.
Well, I found it rather exhausting to read. Yeah.
At one point, Amber, Simone, and Jax piece together what might be happening to Imogen thanks to plot contrivance and come to the conclusion that Imogen will probably die at midnight.
Time is of the essence. Or is it?
Could you read off the first series of events of their investigation? That will kind of show the audience what we're talking about.
All right.
Time being of the essence.
The girls are in Imogen's studio.
Right.
Imogen is the one that's missing.
This isn't like the beginning of the book, right?
Yeah, it's like the second chapter or something like that. They're in her studio. Jax, one of the younger women, says, "I sense dark magic."
Right, so they're looking for missing Imogen,
and they sense dark magic.
They sense dark magic. All right.
So Jax, who is, by the way, 16, says, "I believe that Imogen was taken by a dark witch or wizard." And they're like, "Oh no, that means she's probably going to be sacrificed in a 3-day ritual. And if she was kidnapped 3 days ago, which she disappeared 3 days before, she will be killed at midnight tonight."
That is jumping to a lot of conclusions.
They jump to a lot of conclusions.
Now, of course, you might be like, oh, well, they're witches. They're casting magic to help detect this stuff. But they're not like... They never specifies in the book that they're like 100% on these whole...
Well, and they're both clairvoyants.
They're clairvoyant, sure.
Like, Jax is she can see the past, and Amber can see the future.
So you would think that, like, with all their magic, they might actually be like, oh yeah, this is totally what's happening.
But there's all these restrictions on them.
Yeah.
Like, Amber's like, well, I can see the future unless a non-human is involved. And I don't even know what that means. I don't know if it means a dog or
a table,
a demon, or a demon dog.
Butterflies.
If a demon dog is involved, that's probably even worse.
She can't see the future unless she can see the future unless it involves a non-human. That is
and
nuts.
Then Jax can see the past, but she's got to touch something.
So when someone says, "I sense dark magic," Imogen's gonna be sacrificed tonight. Like, that's really unclear. Like, she's basically just guessing.
Well, then they jump to even bigger conclusion.
Yeah.
And say, well, the only person we know of who had anything to do with Imogen besides her parents is her boyfriend.
Yeah.
He's got to be the guilty one.
He did it. There's the only
option.
option.
Done it. Let's go confront him. So they do. What would we call this? Amber's investigative technique.
This is the characters being dumb.
Right. And us having to try to piece together what the hell
they're thinking.
The author is talking about. Amber's train of thought. This is about Callum.
Okay.
Because when they show up, he's shirtless. Oh. And then he goes to put on a shirt, and the three girls wait for him. Here Callum comes back, and Amber's thinking, he doesn't look suspicious that we haven't been sitting and waiting patiently for him to return.
Oh, is this the scene where Callum, he goes upstairs and they're like in his living room and they're looking for clues?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he catches them.
He catches them looking for clues.
He comes back and he catches them looking for clues. All right, so.
Yeah.
He doesn't look suspicious that we haven't been sitting and waiting patiently for him to return, which is in itself very suspicious. It's like he was expecting us to snoop around in his absence. And why would an innocent man anticipate such a thing unless he thought he was a suspect? That leads to the question of why an innocent man would assume he's under suspicion. Then again, if he had anything to hide, he wouldn't leave us alone, would he? Oh, I don't know.
Holy crap, lady. Jesus.
And her thoughts go on like this all the time.
Like,
it's just constant.
Okay, to tell you the truth, we don't think that Yasmin is all that interested in witchcraft. She barely addresses the subject at all in her book. To her, magic is just like a convenience tool, really. It's just like...
It's a quick way to get from one place to another.
They can teleport, they can cloak. Oh, well, if characters can do stuff like teleport and turn invisible, they would use that all the time. But no, these characters use that kind of stuff for basically the purposes of like getting an Uber.
There's always some convoluted reason why they can't.
Yeah.
Something.
She's not interested in magic. According to Amazon, this is supposed to be a young adult paranormal romance, but it's barely paranormal, except for the Haunted Atlas. We'll get into that later. What our author is really interested in is the romance.
All right, yay. Time to talk about romance. All right.
Yeah, finally.
So I'll say this first, that Amber, Jax, and Simone, they go to confront Callum, and they actually go to him with the intention that, like, they know he's guilty. They're gonna get him to confess.
Yeah.
Confess.
Do
Put him in the comfy chair. All right. But the second Callum opens the door, Amber is absolutely gaga smitten. He's apparently the hottest thing she's ever laid eyes on. I'm gonna say a couple of things here. First of all, I suspect, and I was never proven wrong.
Yeah.
I suspect she's under a spell.
Right, like a love spell.
A love spell. Because if she's not, God help her.
Yeah.
She's absolutely flummoxed in the face of a good-looking guy.
We're steeped so deep within the first person, we get to hear every single lustful detail
oh my
about
God, the list of his attributes.
Sudden crazy infatuation.
I mean, she goes from top of his head to the bottom of his feet and tells us everything about him. So the second thing I'm going to say about this is that Miss Yasmin has got a knack for this.
Oh, yeah.
She's very good at this aspect of romance novel writing. big deal in romance novels is the excessive description of how hot people are. You just go on and on and on. And I love romance novels. I read plenty of them, and they do go on and on and on about how hot people are.
Right.
She knows how to do this.
Yeah.
I myself have a problem doing it. I start to feel conspicuous when I start talking too much about how hot people are, and she's got no problem with this.
Sure.
Ms. Yasmin, stick with this.
She's got other books. She's got like a soulmate series. She probably writes just straight up romance sometimes.
She knows the format for it.
Yeah.
She's got a very good knack for this, so stick with it. You can make a real good writing career out of writing sexy romance books. But
she does have other book series, some that seem to just be romances. It clearly shows what genre she's really interested in. Especially since Amber does all she can to meet with Callum on the side, have drinks with him, and they have. Yasmin writes them the most elaborately detailed scenes in the entire book.
Yes. Okay, but now I'm going to put a little addendum onto my compliment. She's got the descriptions down great.
Yeah.
Of two people being very lusty for each other, at least from Amber's viewpoint. But the dialogue really leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah. To me, Yasmin may actually be bogging her story down with too much paranormal stuff. It seems like she would be more suited to writing straight romance. She's way more interested in writing the romance than writing the missing witch plot, as if Yasmin is actually interrupted by the missing witch plot. If she just focused on the romance, maybe her couples can actually have a shot at some chemistry.
That's interesting. Do you want me to read the little play that I selected?
Please do.
Underground Book Club will be back after this important message. Hello, it's me, Mort Hambone, your proud purveyor of the realm's finest salads at the Saladin Paladin. You know, some people ask me why I advertise my role-playing game-based reality salad bar on a casual show about writing tips for independent writers. They say, wouldn't it make more sense to advertise on a show about tabletop gaming, or magic playing cards, or something else that geeky kids do these days instead of playing outside like we did when I was a kid? And I say, I can do what I want because I'm an adult now, Dad! Mention this advertisement and you get 2 pounds of salad for only 5 silvers. We're located on the ground floor of Penance Castle, conveniently near the Cave of the Infinite Staircase and Mount Madness. Try the Saladin Paladin. We'll put some salad in you. We now return to Underground Book Club.
This is the kind of dialogue I'm talking about, where we've got Callum and Amber talking to each other, and they sound like, I don't know what, 3rd graders?
Yeah.
4th graders, maybe. I don't. Your people have got to be able to have a conversation that doesn't sound like nattering.
Oh, but to remark on one of our earlier points, yeah, she has a good handle on dialogue when it's between like her and other women, but dialogue between her and this guy,
the flirtatious dialogue,
yeah, that's not great.
And then later, when she's got her talking to the police, that dialogue is kind of all over the map too. So. Great feel for like girl-to-girl dialogue. All right, but like.
But we need this example. This example really will show you.
I would now like to present to you the dialogue from a bar scene. They're in a bar
scene, yeah,
having drinks. I have left out all of the exposition. This is just dialogue. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
All right, so I'm Callum and I'm Amber.
Okay.
Your girlfriend is missing, and you trick a different girl to have a drink with you and tell her she's beautiful. That doesn't impress me. No. No, I don't find that particularly attractive. What about me? Do you find me attractive? It's what we do that matters, not what we look like. True, but you didn't answer my question. No, I didn't. Well, are you going to answer? Are you attracted to me, Amber? Are you attracted to me? Haven't I already made that clear? Made what clear? Whether or not you're attracted to me? No. You implied that you thought I was beautiful. You didn't say that you were attracted to me. Thinking someone is attractive and finding them attractive are two different things. True again. But I asked you first. Well, I'm not going to answer first. I don't think I quite like this game. Tough. But I'll play it anyway.
Oh my god.
Huh? Amber Adams, I am 100% attracted to you. If I wasn't, you and I wouldn't be here right now. Though, I wish I'd seen your fair hair. I think I would have liked that more. How do you know? Of course that's not your natural hair color. Eyes like yours don't come with hair like that. So, why black? Why dye your hair at all? Just felt like a change. For the new year, you know? I know. Change is good. I like change. I wouldn't go that far. No. No, not all change is good. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, woo!
Those lines, they're peppered through a very lengthy description. Every time Callum says or does anything, she describes it in incredible detail.
Well, and then it describes how it makes her feel.
And how it makes her feel. I mean,
it describes, like, every time he says anything, it sends ripples of happy through her.
I have this idea that Miss Yasmin is so busy describing the physical between them that she's not paying attention to what they're saying.
Like every time he says her name, she explodes with flowers. And every time every time he touches her, she feels like her piece of her flesh is gonna explode, but in a good way.
Yeah, good exploding. You know, if you have enough nattering between your lines, maybe you forget what kind of conversation these people are actually having.
Yeah.
We started to wonder, with all of Amber's mental navel gazing, if people like she was talking to wondered if she had, I don't know, maybe gone to sleep or something.
So she covers so much of that, but because when it comes to the actual investigation aspect of the book, remember there's a missing woman that's just going to be sacrificed at midnight, apparently.
Huh?
She's having drinks with this guy in this romantic scene at like 11 o'clock in the night.
Shall I tell what's going on here?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
So Imogen's going to die at midnight.
Yeah.
So the girls, after they decide that they can't make Callum admit to anything,
right?
They break apart. Simone goes home because she doesn't want to worry her parents. Amber says Jax is too young to be out till late. And then Amber goes home. They're all home by 11 o'clock.
At
Which is
midnight.
going to die at midnight.
And then they're all just home at 11.
Okay, then Amber, at home at 11, is like...
She's about to go to bed.
And earlier, she mentioned this thing called the Witches' Council.
Oh, right, the Witches' Council.
Some place. She said that's who you call when witches go missing.
Do you call the Witches' Council? Yeah, call the Witches' Council.
Nobody's called the Witches' Council.
Yeah, and the Witches' Council's never even brought up again.
Then Amber, she's like, wow, I mean, maybe I should still be out looking. I don't know. Yeah, I better go out and look. Then Callum calls her, and she's like, hey, Callum.
And Callum's like, you want to go get a drink? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, I will be right there.
Now, I will say, it is kind of part of the investigation because he's still a suspect. And then Jax says, hey, keep him distracted. I'll go raid his flat.
I'll go search his apartment.
And see what I can find.
Wow, okay, and then that turns out to not work because, again...
I have a big theory about that,
magic. Yes.
I have a big theory about that.
And see, we can't get too much into this because we don't want to spoil.
I think we can spoil. I think because it's only 80 pages. What's there to spoil? Nothing happens in the damn book.
Well, it feels like that sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about spoiling this book because it's really only an intro to like book 2 and 3. While she's at the bar with Callum, Amber is given a huge hint a waitress mentions a burned down bar. A bar that burned down 3 days ago.
What? The same day Imogen went missing?
And maybe. It's like, that is a big hint.
Doesn't Callum even say that he and Imogen went? Like they used to go to that
bar? Yeah, that's like a huge hint. That's like in a D&D game. The dungeon master's like, they said 3 days ago that there was something going down at a bar, and your friend went missing 3 days ago.
Yeah, but Amber, she's just like, Callum is so handsome.
So Amber, she's so enraptured with Callum, she forgets about the bar and goes home again. She actually has to be told where to go and what to do because
she's got a magic atlas. All right, she's got the London A to Z, which I guess is their street map atlas.
It's like their atlas, yeah.
And this atlas has been like all night long showing up on her bed and her dresser.
It's like opening up, like
it's
the
practically
bar.
Talking to her.
Go to the
bar. And she's so clueless about magic. She keeps being like, I didn't leave this out here. That's weird. I'm gonna put this away. It takes her like the minute she said the first time, I don't remember leaving this book out. I was like, well, maybe you should pay attention to that.
Yeah. Pay attention
we
to
can
the book.
see the magic.
Mm-hmm.
She's off in La La Land.
There's a whole witches society, and you're telling me that books being left out and magical clues and stuff like that doesn't ever really catch her attention as being like something she needs to pay attention to? But I will also remind us that she's tired.
She is tired, and also Callum is so cute.
She wants to just go home and gossip about boys.
All right, so Jax, when she was searching Callum's apartment, she never actually managed to do it because she got put under a spell.
Yeah.
And Jax tells her this, and Amber's still like, huh.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, Amber...
But my atlas just told me to go to this bar.
Yeah, so she teleports to the bar without putting on any shoes, without any plan.
Oh my god.
Without letting anyone know
freaking shoes.
Where she's going.
My god.
Yeah. She breaks inside of the burned down bar because imagine like it's surrounded by police tape and then whatever. She breaks inside and she starts snooping around the active crime scene. And then finally, within its basement, she finds Imogen. And Imogen is dead, she's drained of blood, and she's on a table.
She is bloodless.
Bloodless, yeah. So then Amber calls the police to tell them what's going on. What would London police do to a person who just reported a murder-suicide? Well, they arrest the caller, of course.
Well, now they don't arrest her, but they detain her.
Yeah.
They take her to the police station, they keep her locked in a room for like a day and a half, and question her in a very aggressive manner.
Like they nearly tortured this woman.
They're like wanting to corroborate her story and all that. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. Just trust us.
Amber even says at one point, like, these guys are questioning me. They're not gonna let a suspect get any rest.
Yeah,
they're gonna keep me up for a day and a half.
What the hell ever would make them think she was a suspect?
She goes to a crime scene like, oh, it's a burned down bar, finds a dead body and calls about it. Like, and she was looking for the lady. Okay, when we went to London, we found out that London is completely covered in security cameras.
Yeah, I
think
think there's some statistics on this that like no place in the world has more CCTV than London.
Yeah, so you would think the police would have a whole record of every single piece of like evidence that this chick did not kill Imogen, but they're still questioning her like crazy.
They question and question and question her around and around. Same crap we already know.
Yeah, because we, as the audience, have read all of Amber's exploits. We know she didn't kill her, so there's no point in us here having to have her explain
all over again,
like every single thing with the police.
Lord, it's boring. And get this. Okay, I'm sorry. I looked up a lot of stats on this book.
It's not that long.
In a 34,000 word book, the events at the police station take up about 5,000 words. Wow. I did a count on this, which means 15% of this book takes place in that interrogation.
And she's just recapping the book for us.
She's recapping it, and she's telling us, oh, I don't want to tell them about Callum. I don't want to tell them about Callum. Tell them what? Nothing has happened with Callum.
Yeah, Callum, he took you out for orange juice, and then all of a sudden you're like, I can't
let them know about Callum.
The police detainment scene goes on for so long that Amber actually literally falls asleep in the middle of it. And when she does fall asleep, oh man, she has a dream sequence.
Here we go.
Oh God, let's talk about this dream sequence. Not only is it one of our main talking points, it's actually one of Yasmin's main talking points. Yasmin, on her blog, has a whole section dedicated to helping authors. It's called For Authors. And in Yasmin's own words, here are a series of posts aimed at helping authors and writers in their writing and publishing journey. So she's giving tips.
Yeah,
she's giving tips to writers. That's really cool. Very cool.
Very cool.
It's exactly what we're hoping to do, honestly. Help authors and writers by giving them tips and tricks. Maybe Yasmin could be a guest on our show. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Email us, Yasmin.
Yeah, do it.
We love your we love your image.
Yeah. All right. So one of these posts is titled Character Traits. The very top post, as of this recording, is titled Let Your Characters Dream. To Yasmin, dream sequences and nightmares are super helpful tools of the writing trade. In her words again, please read this.
Okay, so she says, not only is it fun for you as a writer to experiment with different styles and imagery, apply a fantasy element to the story if it's contemporary fiction, but your readers might enjoy the abstract representation of your character's unconscious desires or fears. You can hint at underlying issues, secrets that will be revealed in time, and show off another side to your writing ability.
I can agree with that. Perhaps dream sequences can be helpful, a tool in the writer's toolbox, like for foreshadowing and such. What happens in this particular dream sequence?
Oh, I'm sorry, what? I fell asleep.
Did you have a dream sequence?
I did. I don't like dream sequences. I don't like to use them much in books. Now, I say that, I actually wrote an entire book about dreams. But it wasn't,
they were about dreams.
It was not, it was...
And like the people were like aware, like Inception in the dreams. It wasn't a dream sequence.
Excuse myself for that one, but...
Yeah, you.
I don't like them used in movies, and I don't like them used in books. I think dream sequences are like cheap outs. But I see her point, and if it's your style, go for it.
Right.
I don't use them myself. This dream sequence tells us nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
She spends... All right.
How long in the book?
I mentioned that the police interrogation was 15% of the book.
Right.
The dream sequence is like almost 12% of the book.
Holy crap.
It goes on and on and on. And a good 2/3 of it seemed to be her wandering in a dark forest.
Yeah, and those are the...
It's not a dark forest, it's just darkness.
Yeah.
And she's wandering.
Oh, I thought it was a forest.
Well, maybe it's a forest.
I thought it was
it's
a forest.
Like
but she,
so
okay, so
dark she can't see.
She looks down and she sees herself in a big dress.
She's got a fancy dress on.
She's like, wow, cool.
That.
And then she's running in a dark forest, and she's running because monsters are chasing after her. The scene changes because
she finally figures out
she's so slow that it takes her like 8 pages to be like, am I dreaming?
I'm a witch. Maybe I should use magic to fight the monsters.
Yeah.
Okay, so she kicks the monsters away, boom, finally, and then she goes to a party. And it's a ball.
Oh boy.
And she's Cinderella at the ball. And Callum's there. And they dance, and they have another really long, chemistry-free conversation.
I will say, though, that it's not technically Dream Callum. Callum can apparently communicate with Amber.
I guess it may really be Callum.
Callum can apparently communicate with Amber in her dreams because earlier, I will say this was foreshadowed, Callum did say, see you in your dreams.
Yes, he did.
He did say that.
All right, and that's fine. I would totally be on board with that if anything happened between them that hadn't already happened in the bar.
Exactly.
In his apartment.
I will say, Callum does change her hair color from her dark hair to her natural blonde. And
when she wakes up, she's blonde again.
Yeah.
That's like the only interesting thing that happens in the whole book.
But then, of course, she spends way too long being like, huh? How is my hair a different color?
Oh my God, it's like magic.
It's like
or something. That's
my
crazy. God. In this particular 4,000 word long dream, it's just more of them snuggling up to each other. A little word of warning. There's no sex in this book.
There's none.
There's no kissing.
There might be some later on, but usually young adult novels don't have
maybe they're trying to keep it kind of clean.
Yeah.
It's all titillation, I guess you'd call it. The most they do is sort of like brush against each other. So don't like read this in the hopes that there's going to be some down and dirty single paragraph sentence.
Throughout the span of like 2 dreams, one dream does happen later on, but we're kind of covering like dreams now, so I'll just go ahead and talk about that dream now. Callum tells Amber that they're totally attracted to one another, but Amber shouldn't look for him because he's on the run or something. Goddamn. So Callum, he tells her my flat was burned down, and I'm like, hey, wait, oh shit. Wasn't Jax at his flat?
She was. And she's okay. She doesn't like...
Yeah.
You think maybe she burned his flat down?
Jax visited Callum's flat to see if he was hiding anything about Imogen. What if Jax was trying to cover something up? Oh my goodness.
You think Jax is maybe up to...
Yeah. I'm doing more detective work than frickin' Amber ever does.
Well, yeah, Amber never mentions this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amber is more like, his flat burned down, where will he be sexy?
Alright, so after her first dream sequence, another good portion of the book is taken up by Amber's continued police investigation.
Oh, God,
she wakes up in the investigation room, and then the cops come in, and they continue the investigation.
And it's pretty much the same crap over again.
Oh my God. But then, of course... Here's the kicker. It all ends with Amber just being let go with no repercussions.
You're not a suspect. Get out of here.
Get out of here. What are you doing? Imogen is dead and nothing's been accomplished. Goody. But Amber's being watched now. Maybe they'll keep an eye on her, which means that now Amber has to be super careful with how she casts her magic and stuff, because witches in this world are a secret. We spend so long in this police investigation. You would think as an author you would want something to come of this investigation, like perhaps she gets the police on her side. Perhaps she spills the beans about magic to the police, and then the police are like, oh yeah, we've known about witchcraft, and then the police can help her.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah. The police, like, she could have gotten an ally. Or, conversely, she could have been locked up, and she can't look for...
Or how about there's actually some evidence against her?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why are your fingerprints all over this bitch then?
Yeah, and then, like, someone's framed Amber or something. The book is so short, you can't afford for wasted time, and she still wastes a ton of time.
Well...
God.
I felt like, I'm sorry. I mean, I think this woman's got a lot of potential as a writer.
Tons. Yeah, absolutely.
But it seemed like kind of wasted time from beginning to end.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, this is a lot of stuff that this could have been condensed into one chapter.
Oh yeah, of another book, absolutely.
And then launched into the real story.
Hell, if this is written by the person who wrote our next book that we're going to be looking at, all the stuff would be condensed into like one page.
Yeah, that's true. And then it would be like 16 years later.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing that really happens in this book is that Amber goes to her flat and realizes very slowly that her place is probably haunted. There's like a ghost there that communicates with her by using an A to Z.
And then, oh my God, she's like, a ghost? What?
What is this?
How could there be a ghost in here? When she goes to Jax and says, Jax, I think it's a ghost. Jax is like, right.
A ghost?
Yeah, I don't know, in their magic world, maybe ghosts aren't included, but I thought, like, if you are totally into witchcraft,
you would know about this
you
stuff.
would have no problem believing in ghosts. I wouldn't think.
We, the audience, figure stuff out about this world and her situation way quicker than Amber ever does.
Oh my God, so much faster.
And she's a clairvoyant witch. Like, she tells Jax about the haunted book, and then the book just kind of stops after she tells Jax about the haunted atlas.
The haunted book says, by the way, there's more murders to come.
Right.
Like, and Amber is still looking at this book like, oh my God, I think it's trying to tell me something.
My prediction? I think Jax is the one who's taking out witches. And I think, earlier, remember I said Jax has a missing sister? I think Jax did it. I think Jax took out her own sister.
Whoa.
I think Jax's missing sister is now a ghost. And the ghost knows what Jax is doing, so she haunts Amber to try and help.
Well, you know what? You thought about this a lot more than I have.
Yeah.
Yasmin has talent.
Oh, absolutely.
She's a dedicated writer. I don't think she gets a lot of critical feedback.
I think she shows it to like her friends, and her friends are like, "This is so good."
Somebody's got to tell her about paragraphs.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll see this show sometime and be like, "Oh my God!"
Hey, we should send her a little Facebook.
They talk about me for an hour.
I'm really interested in reading the rest of her blog, especially her posts that are for writers and other authors.
Okay, yeah, and she might have some great advice because experience does give you. It always does give you advice, but
that's what we're doing.
If she gets a better handle on creating a more compelling main character, most of the problems would vanish.
Yeah.
We've got to get the structure of the story into a readable form, and then
get a slightly more compelling main character.
Make Amber easier to listen to.
Yeah.
A little smarter, or surrounded by slightly smarter people. And if Amber is under a spell, a lot more in this book would make sense.
Right.
However, if she's under a spell, she probably won't know it. It would be nice to get some hints from the other people. Some point, maybe somebody say to her, Jax, for example, or Simone, Amber, you're acting strange. What's wrong? You can take a first-person character and give us information with hints from other things that are happening that maybe let us have some insight.
Something weird is going on. And that way it's almost suspenseful. Like every time she thinks about Callum, we're like, no, don't do it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Stop.
He's got you under a spell.
Oh my God.
Or you're just a dingbat, maybe. Did we mention that she, at the end of the book, remembers she's a clairvoyant?
Oh, right. She forgets she's a clairvoyant. Yeah, she actually, like, in the book, she says, oh my God, I totally forgot I'm a clairvoyant.
She says she forgot. She's like, I haven't had any clairvoyant visions in, since 2 days ago or something like that.
Oh.
And she's like, I didn't even think about it since I wasn't having them. But folks, if you go blind all of a sudden, you're going to notice. If you have got the ability to see the future.
I haven't been able to breathe out of my nose in a day. Isn't that weird? I just now noticed.
Okay, so maybe she's under a spell.
Maybe.
I hope so. I hope to God she is, because otherwise she is a flippin' moron.
This lady,
if she's under a spell, then I take it back. But I will say that there should have been more indication, more foreshadowing that she was under a spell.
Exactly.
All right.
We've only seen a small sample of her work. Perhaps this was just a minor fluke in her otherwise excellent track record. I can see people becoming absolutely enraptured in her writing once she gets more practice and more feedback.
Enraptured? Oh yeah. Well, after she
absolutely, I can see some swooning teenage girl being as inspired by her books as she was with Twilight.
Ms. Yasmin, you get your sentence structure worked out, you're already halfway there.
This is why feedback is important, people. We're not trying to knock the author down. We're trying to bring them up. We're trying to raise them. We're trying to ascend them into a higher being.
And if you write some sexy romance novels, I will be reading them because I do love them.
Absolutely.
I love them.
I'll just flip through them to get to the good parts. On the next
that's what I do too.
On the next episode of Underground Book Club, we're discussing a lengthy, decadent cake of a novel that shows a ton of potential, yet lacks critical ingredients.
What a nice metaphor.
Well, thank you. It's called Into the Other, right? Did I get that right?
Into the Other. Yeah. And we'll also be discussing men's chests.
Really?